Anthony Richardson, and a yet-to-be-determined player they intend to acquire this offseason, according to GM Chris Ballard. College basketball, Duke guard Tyrese Proctor appeared to injure his left knee in the win over Miami last night. He'll have x-rays and an MRI. Knicks and 76ers tip off the Wednesday NBA doubleheader, 7 Eastern on ESPN, followed by the Spurs and Rockets at 9:30 Eastern.
Eagle Masonry and Installation. It's right there in the name. Eagle is your one-stop shop for block, stone, or brickwork, monument signs, and outdoor kitchens and fireplaces. Eagle also offers the finest craftsmanship and insulation, including fiberglass or spray foam insulation, and of course, insulation removal. Philip Love and his team have years of experience, bringing the region the best in masonry and insulation services. For more information and a quote, visit insulatewitheagle.com or call 256-755-1556. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money. Specializing in simple and affordable rentals, McCurry Van and Car Rental can make sure you have just the right vehicle for your next family vacation, weekend getaway, or if you just need transportation while your vehicle is being repaired. McCurry carries Ford Transit vans and Mercedes Sprinter vans, trucks and work vans, and more. And they offer discounted rental rates for long-term rentals. Now with 4 locations: Athens, Muscle Shoals, Coleman, and Huntsville. Log on McCurryRentals.com to make your reservation now. That's McCurryRentals.com.
I'm here with Stan McDonald of Jacob Title. Stan, I've heard that every real estate closing at Jacob Title is a very big deal. Why is that?
Wes, I'm reminded of a very impactful statement that I heard from Coach Gene Stallings years ago when he talked about big games and little games. He said he didn't like that comparison. He says, because try losing one of those little games, and if you ever do, it ends up being the biggest game all year long. Well, it's the same thing with real estate closings. Every game, every closing is a very big deal at Jacob Title. Because when it's your closing and your contract on the line, it's a very big deal, and we understand that at Jacob Title.
So it sounds like whether your client is a first-time residential buyer or a multi-million-dollar investor, they can expect your A game.
That's exactly right. As a matter of fact, when you bring your real estate closing to us at Jacob Title, we understand it's all about trust and confidence. And when Stan McDonald tells you that a chicken dips snuff, you can look under his wing for the box.
And like Beams likes to say, there's no doubt about it.
Howdy, folks. Bob Baumhauer here. Whether you're planning a tailgate party at the game, cheering for your favorite teams at home, or at your local Baumhauers with your family and friends, we're here to make your football party legendary with our party-ready tray selections. From our always fresh buttermilk fried chicken tenders to the homemade Nana's chicken salad, and of course, our fresh, never frozen, award-winning Buffalo-style chicken wings. Baumhauer's Victory Grill. Legendary fun, legendary food.
Tom Luganville here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com.
From Coleman to Fayetteville and all points in between.
John, pull the hammer back. Smokey's coming at you in a plain white wrapper.
97.7 ESPN, The Zone. Joe Hunk, John Abraham, 256-576-4977. Welcome to the Blitz.
Hello and welcome in to 2 hours straight of your favorite sports talk. John Abraham, Joe Hunk, you know the deal. It's the Blitz here on 97.7 ESPN The Zone, as well as ESPN Winchester. And on top of that, WZZN TV over on YouTube. Go and subscribe to that bad boy. And on top of that, make sure you have a bookmark on our website. 977ESPN.com is the place to be for all the information you need to know about what we got going on in North Alabama, as well as what we got going on our station. Because last night, it was quite a fun time with Alabama getting the win over Mississippi State. 111-273. Yet again, breaking the triple digits mark. What a game this one was, and I can't wait to hear the listeners' reactions. You can call us at 256-576-97.7. Get in your thoughts now. It's going to be a great conversation because we don't just have that game to talk about, which we will also be talking with Cody Goodwin from Bama 247 in the second hour. But we also got some of the other SEC matchups because if you fell asleep,
everybody,
I know
everybody.
Well, nobody was falling asleep too early, Joe. Okay, they would have been able to finish the Gators versus the Bulldogs, Florida versus Georgia.
This is, by the way, before you get in too far into this is going to play into the cover 5.
Yes.
Just
Okay, good.
This game plays into what a question I have for
because it is a wacky Wednesday. We do have the cover 5. That will be in the first hour. Second hour, we are going all out sports. Okay. Which, I mean, who knows? Joe's the one that comes up with the question, so they should all be all out sports, but it's going to be a fun day. And again, 256-576-97.7 is the number to get in.
No, and you had Georgia upsetting Florida last night. You also had Oklahoma State upsetting Iowa State last night in college basketball. Auburn and Ole Miss are going to be playing tonight. Alabama with a big win there. And the reason why I said, everybody was tired and sleepy is because, look, the Havoc Hour last night, if you did miss this, was absolutely amazing with Dom and Gio Procopio, with Dom being the team captain, with Gio, his little brother, being in his first season as a member of the Huntsville Havoc. That was extremely fun. And what was really crazy about it was just the fact that this thing, we call it a Havoc Hour, but we continue now to go into overtime is what I continue to call it. That
it's a good way of putting it, Joe.
It's all my fault. It is 100% my fault.
Oh, yeah.
Well, it's not 100% my fault. It is, I will say 90% my fault, because it is my job to kind of drive the ship. The problem is that when we do something as simple as saying, hey, get your questions in, comment on the chat. You can, we'll ask the guys all these questions. The amount of questions that we get in throughout a night is absolutely amazing. There's some of these that I actually missed just because of the abundance of messages that we have. Yeah. And, without going back and sharing the entire story, which you'll be able to go to it on WZZN TV, on YouTube. But for a lot of people that do not know this, and I didn't know this until yesterday afternoon, is that
they're twins.
No, they can't be twins. One's 3 years older than the other.
Dang it.
Unless the other one just decided he wanted to hang out for 3 years, that poor boy's mama. And so
it's like most people with college.
Yeah, just, 3 extra years. No, that we know that Noah Finstrom was a member of the UAH Chargers. He was a part of the very last team. What a lot of people don't know is that Dominic Procopio was supposed to be a part of the next team of UAH Chargers the year that the school disbanded the hockey program.
That would have been crazy. I would have been going to college with him then.
Yeah, no, and you would have.
So wild.
Yeah, think about that.
How old is he?
He's not that old. I mean, he's been in the league for about 4 years, and it kind of plays into the fact that he wasn't able to become a UAH Charger because he left UMass Lowell.
Okay.
And he committed to UAH. Like, it was a committed scholarship. Here you go. You can play hockey for us. Like, it was all that. He made the posts about how he was committing to the UAH Chargers. He was going to be a teammate of Noah Finstrom. Like, it was all of that was taking place. And he told us even last night, I said, well, how did you find out about the hockey program? And he went, honestly, the coach just called me and says that I need to find another school if I want to keep playing hockey. And then he explained what all was happening.
Damn. Yeah. I was wondering because I was like, where's the timeline really going with this?
So
it's the club now, and I don't know exactly how they do things with scholarships and all of that.
Club hockey, you don't have scholarships.
Exactly.
It's literally, it's kind of like pet bands, whenever you're at a UAH basketball game.
What do we got to do, Joe? What do we got to do to push for? I don't know if we have the power.
This is a tough situation for me because, as a former athlete at UAH, I was always kind of the baseball team was always jealous of the hockey team. So we always had this, quite frankly, the hockey players always pissed us off.
Jeez.
Like, and I'm saying this now, even though I spend all my time around all these hockey players, but they really just pissed us off because, we would have a game like at Arkansas State and they would be like, all right, well, your game time, what time's first pitch? First pitch is at 3:00. Okay, cool. Well, you can leave at 12:01 a.m. for this 12-hour drive. And we're like, are you serious? And then we would come back and then we would be like, where's the hockey team at? Like, where's the hockey players at? They're like, they had to fly to Anchorage. They got a game this Wednesday. And I'm like, it's Monday.
They just chilling out, bro.
They get to fly, and we had to literally leave at 12:01 the same day. Like, what the heck? So, that was 20 years ago at UAH. So it's a lot different now, but it was one of those that for me, we hated the hockey players. And because of the fact that they got all of the stuff because they were D1 and we did it because, we were still D2. So it's kind of strange to see this because now this city, I'm not saying the city has kind of grown past UAH hockey, but it was one of which now, like with the success of the Preds, like I feel like there's the Preds, or not the Preds in Nashville, but the Havoc here in Huntsville. I mean, we're getting, I want to say tomorrow night supposed to be the 40th straight sellout. Jeez. I want to say that Thursday night against Macon should be the 40th straight sellout if all the tickets do sell. That now it's more of a bigger thing with hockey in the city.
It's like, when does it get to the point where the market is too big for Huntsville?
Well, it comes down to like growth and growth of the franchise and all that sort of stuff. Plus, you also talk about like costs and everything. Like for the one question that even I've asked is like, well, you're in the SPHL. Why don't you just move up to the ECHL? Because again, me, the video gamer, I'm sitting here thinking the ECHL is on NHL 25.
Yeah, let's just be honest. We just want to play as the Havoc.
We want the Havoc uniforms in NHL 25. Like, I just want to be able to have that as my Chell uniform. Like, give that to me. Mm-hmm. And so, but no, there's such a massive cost that would happen with making that jump and that move that it, costs analysis on what it is. So, there's that part about, look, what we have is special. We know it's special. I mean, look, you have two hockey players and Coach Steffen, which Coach Steffen and I had a great talk on and off of the camera about, why he doesn't stop and talk to me during games. We did. And, we have something extremely special because if you have not made it to Zambruski's yet, this place is packed. Mm-hmm. I mean, absolutely packed. Every chair is taken outside of the one right beside John. I don't know why nobody wants to sit right across from you.
Oh, there's a reason why. There's a reason why.
You smell?
No, Joe, what, I don't smell.
No, that's why I'm asking. Like, I don't know the answer.
That's just rude.
That's why I'm asking the question, because it doesn't make sense.
It's because I'm a guy with two computers, all right, and I'm working one of the streams. Nobody's going to sit in front of me unless it's the players, and I appreciate whenever they do sit in front of me because I get to conversate with them a little bit easier.
It's kind of like the waiting area.
The Procopio brothers, on the other hand, I almost ended up talking to them longer than you talked to them last night, but thankfully you went into overtime, you extended their conversation, and it was worth it because it was great. I mean, it's not every day you get to talk to two brothers who play on the exact same professional team.
Well, and I love sometimes, and I know that you probably have this with your brothers. I kind of saw this a little bit whenever we were playing golf in the golf tournament. But I want to say, like, not the admiration, but just how close they are. And how much they live together. I mean, they live together, which also includes Dom's wife, which is such a strange dynamic.
Is it though?
It's 4 hockey players and his wife. And it's like, dude, she's basically like a teen mom in the house. It's so strange.
That's like summer for me.
That's true. She's like teen mom inside the apartment. And so, you have them living together. They hang out all the time, but they're also brothers. And then you start to see something like family weekend that took place for the Havoc over the weekend, which was they invited all the parents back, moms, dads, everybody was able to come back. And Coach Steffen kind of shared the story about how they let the parents announce their kids as the starters. And so it was cool to kind of see that. But when you're Dom and Gio, you have one parent or two parents that are there that actually get to do this for you. It's kind of a cool thing because you're not always going to get this. Look, I just want my kids to be successful in something. Like, I just want them to be something. Okay. They have 2 kids. I still call them kids because they are in their 20s, but 2 kids that are literally professional hockey players, and they're getting to go back to the city and see them. And look, Friday night was really fun. Saturday night was absolutely amazing for the family weekend, and the Havoc Hour last night. Cannot thank you enough for everybody that got there and showed up and just packed out the Zambruski's Tavern just so that we could all just hang out and talk to Gio and Dom.
Yeah. Now we got to re-up and do it again next week as well because your boy gets to do the show. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Third stringer here.
It's not third stringer because you are literally the relief man in this. So here's what's happening. Okay. Truth be told, and I'm saying this obviously on WZZN TV as you're listening to ESPN Winchester and 97.7. We kind of had like a little conflict in the schedule because UAH basketball just happens to be really good this year.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah, I mean, they're just really good and stuff. And so both the men and the women secured home playoff games for the GSC tournament. So the quarterfinals are always at a home arena, and then they turn around in the semifinals and the finals happen down in Sanford. Mm-hmm. So UAH men as well as UAH women both secured home playoff games, and those got scheduled for March 4th. Well, it's kind of like all hands on deck over at UAH. And so we're all going to be over there for that. So John, our little baby A himself, is going to be hosting the Havoc Hour next week.
You're the only one that calls me that.
No, actually, I think it's kind of growing a little bit. I've skewed away from calling it to you on the air.
No, I know, but it's on the camera setting. I see baby A. At first, I didn't even notice it. I was like, why did Joe change all the settings? I'm pissed off. And then I noticed the next day, I was like, oh, baby A, that's me.
Yeah, that's you.
I forgot.
Yeah, you baby A.
I've accepted it at this point. But either way, Joe, I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait. But I'm also looking forward to conversating with the listeners as well about some of these wacky questions that you're going to be throwing at us. On top of that, there's a little bit more local news I do want to talk about. I don't know if you recall our conversation with Ryan Sylvia last night, or yesterday, but the Tennessee Volunteers had to face off against one of the
UNA
more local colleges. Yes, yeah, I was
UNA.
I was going to set it up.
No, I mean we talked about it yesterday. It's UNA.
Some people might have forgotten. Either way, we'll take it to break off of that. When we get back, more fun sports talk coming here on the Blitz on 97.7, ESPN The Zone and ESPN Winchester.
If hunting and outdoor recreation are your passions, it all starts with the right property. That's where I come in. I am Bo Butler with Southland Realty and Auction, a hunting and recreational land specialist and a Jackson County native who sees land through a hunter's eyes. Just as you trust your guide on a big game hunt, you can trust me to find the perfect property for you. Thinking of selling? Let me help you make your land attract buyers. Remember, Bo knows land. Call me at 256-609-0512.
The company is Eagle Masonry and Insulation, but did you know they're also Eagle Landscaping and Dirt Work? Eagle can take care of all your landscaping needs, including irrigation, sod work, and planting, both plants and trees. On the dirt work side, Eagle can grade and build your pads, haul dirt in or out, and even do erosion control. Philip Love and his team can do it all for you. The website is the same, insulatewitheagle.com, as is the phone number, 256-755-1556. Give them a call and see what Eagle can do for you. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money.
This is Steve Moulton from 97.7 ESPN The Zone, and this is What's Happening. Be sure and download our app. Just search 977 ESPN in your Google Marketplace or your Apple Store, depending on your device, so you can take us wherever you might go. And you can also check out our latest zone deals. Head over to our website, 977ESPN.com. The top left banner reads, Savings Never Tasted So Good. Click on that, then enter in the big zone deal store for half-off zone deals of Lawler's Barbecue, Sea Salt, Carrabba's Italian Grill, Bubby's Diner, Corlejos Mexican Grill, Bad Daddy's Burger Bar, Divergence, Full Moon Barbecue, Bigfoot Little Donuts, Hickory Store Barbecue, Good Company Cafe, Apple Lane Farms, the Decatur location, and rounds of golf at Cherokee Ridge Golf Course and Gunter's Landing. And that's what's happening.
Conference USA is bringing its premier basketball event back to the Rocket City. Don't miss the 2025 Conference USA Basketball Championships, March 11th through the 15th at the VBC Probst Arena, featuring 20 men's and women's basketball teams playing 18 games with CUSA titles and NCAA automatic bids on the line. Find out who's going to be putting on their dancing shoes. Tickets as low as $40. Visit Ticketmaster.com today to experience Conference USA hoops in the Rocket City, March 11th through 15th.
Been thinking about what kind of truck you need to pull that big boat or shiny Airstream Classic? I'd like to invite you to feel the torque of an F-150 Power Boost Hybrid. It combines the forces of gas and electric power for over 11,000 pounds of towing muscle. Hey folks, Bobby White back again for Woody Anderson Ford, where you can test drive over 200 new F-150s. And you can save up to $13,500 off MSRP on a 24 XLT 4x4 with the Power Boost engine. Save over $13,000 on F-150 today. On your way to a growing family or already have one? Then a Woody Anderson Ford Expedition is your ticket to ride. Save up to $12,000 off MSRP on a 24 Expedition at Woody Anderson Ford. $12,000 off Expedition. And there's more too. Get up to $8,000 off MSRP on the Agile and Sporty Escape ST line. And with a versatile 2024 Edge, you're looking at up to $10,000 off MSRP only at Woody Anderson Ford. Bring on the savings. I'm Bobby White, and I hope to see you soon.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. A fantastic Wednesday afternoon across North Alabama, southern Middle Tennessee. We get to enjoy plenty of sunshine. Temperatures consistently going to climb into the lower 70s today. The average high temperature somewhere in the upper 50s and lower 60s, dropping into the upper 40s, lower 50s as we head into the overnight, early into your Thursday morning. There could be a couple of isolated showers through the early and middle part of Thursday morning. The vast majority of us going to end up staying dry. A partly sunny to mostly cloudy sky Thursday afternoon. Temperatures climbing into the upper. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Hold your block until the whistle blows.
From SEC Media Days to the National Championship Game.
This was a great team win.
We are 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Welcome back in to the Blitz. John Abraham, Joe Hunk. A whole lot of fun sports talk on deck. Joe, I just cannot stop thinking about Marshall the GOAT, the space GOAT. HCFC really knows what they're doing because I think they're going to get themselves a new fan, and I think I need to get all of the Marshall merchandise. I'm a part of the Marshall fan club now.
There's a fan club for Marshall?
I made it.
Oh, okay.
Night.
So you're the president?
I just kept looking at it. I was like, dude, this thing's actually really cute. So that's a really good move by our local professional. Is it like semi-pro? No, it's
no. They're professional.
It's like D2.
No, it's basically it's AAA.
It's AAA.
Yeah.
That's
So
the way to
for
put it.
people that don't realize this, like this is you have obviously Trash Pandas are AA.
Mm-hmm.
Huntsville Havoc is single A.
Yeah.
And the in Huntsville FC that is the
AAA
because
to the Nashville.
Yes, so they are the
team.
Nashville.
Yes.
They're the Nashville affiliate. So if ever there's a point in time where Nashville needs to add a player, they go directly to Huntsville.
I'm gonna be honest, Joe. It could be single A, and I would still be like super pumped for this because
well,
I don't know what it is. Huntsville just knows what they're doing when it comes to branding their teams.
Yeah.
And I gotta admit, like I didn't expect any sort of logo coming out, any sort of mascot coming out for this soccer team.
I don't even know if Nashville has a mascot.
No, they do.
Do they?
Yeah. It's almost like a more realistic looking version of the Nashville Predators, Nash.
Oh,
Yeah. I think it's actually a bobcat instead of a saber-toothed tiger because that's when the
it does look
are.
like a bobcat. No, it's a coyote.
Coyote?
It's a coyote.
Rest
They have two. Yeah, they have two mascots, but Tempo the coyote.
Oh, look, they're trying to do stuff that Havoc already done.
Yeah, Tempo the coyote. Yeah,
Either way,
that's what they did.
The show, as always, is presented by the wonderful people over at Fleming Roofing and Restoration, the guys you need to talk to about all of your roofing needs. If you're having any roofing problems, make sure you look them up online at FlemingHSV.com. And remember that Fleming always shows up. Joe, our North Alabama Lions went up to Knoxville yesterday. And I'm going to be honest with you. When this game started, I thought that this was just, I was like, oh, geez. I was hyping up North Alabama a little bit. They were 3-3 going into this one. Had some good matchups against the Army. They faced off against Auburn and kept it pretty respectable, I will admit. But when this game started, I was instantly just regretting everything I told Ryan Sylvia because this Tennessee team is no slouch. They are really freaking good. All right. 3rd in the country, maybe 4th on some polls. But, North Alabama able to keep it close going into the end of it. I believe it was 7-5.
7-5. UNA actually, they scored one run in the 7th, 8th, and 9th because at one point in time it was 7-2.
And that was in like the second inning.
Yeah, it was 7-2. That was Tennessee scored 5 runs in the first. And so, but the biggest part with this and for Tennessee side of things in this was the fact that AJ Russell came back. He did only pitch like in an inning, but this was like one of his first starts or first games since Tommy John.
Yeah.
And so that was a big thing for him, especially for the Tennessee baseball team. That getting him back and being able to, I mean, he only threw 1 inning, 17 pitches, but he also struck out all 3 batters that he faced. So that was a really good thing for him. But the fact that UNA went into Tennessee, even though it was a midweek game, Tennessee's trying to figure out what their roster is going to be and their lineup is going to be going into the midweek games or in the weekend games. So they use the midweek games as your testing ground. You get your younger guys some action. You kind of see what they can do in actual game situations when there's fans in the stands and you're getting the whole atmosphere. A lot of that. And for UNA to actually to get that to 7-5 against the national champs, that's pretty good because it wasn't just the national champs. It's the number 1 team in the country.
Yeah, pretty impressive indeed. You look at the next game for this North Alabama squad. They're facing off against UAB starting on February 28th. So that is this Friday. So if you want to follow that team, definitely look forward to that matchup before they go back up to Tennessee and face off against Belmont next week. And then on top of that, Tennessee continuing their out-of-conference play, and that's what it's all about. And the reason why, Joe, just adding to what you were saying about it, the reason why it's so long is because there's a lot to figure out about these rosters. You know, who's going to be your top in the bullpen, as well as, you know, the rest of the 4 that are going to really be the ones that are playing every single weekend. So that's what is kind of the case when it comes to these baseball seasons. And you know it best, Joe. Because you, of course, played it.
Well, yeah, and I think that especially with the midweek games, what you're going to see is you're going to have your number 4, number 5 starter going. You're going to want to get him a little bit of work, and you know it's big for those guys because they obviously want to be pitching on the weekends. You know, if you're I'm not talking about the bullpen guys, but if you're talking about your starters, they want to be pitching on Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, and so they're going to be you're getting. Even though it's not your number 1, when you're the number 4 pitcher at Tennessee, you're still most likely a guy that in the next year or 2 is going to get drafted. So it's not like you're facing any bad talent, but it's the same way with UNA. It's going to be the same way with UAH whenever they do have midweek games, which they're not having as many anymore just because they're going straight conference to conference games. They've got conference games this weekend against Valdosta State. So, I mean, they're right into conference play themselves. And so you want to know what you have from not just your big guys, but you also want to know what you have from those guys on the bench because there's going to be an injury. There's going to be something where a player is going to get taken out in the 5th or 6th inning because they strain a hamstring or because they get hurt, or, you know, if it's hockey, you take a stick to the face like Buster did.
It happens quite a bit.
You know, and so you got to go in and get stitched up and you got to get a cage on your mask and a cage on your helmet. So there's a lot of things like that. They kind of go in these midweek games, but it was good for UNA to be able to go up to Knoxville.
Yeah, no doubt about that. And you can look forward to Tennessee facing off against Oklahoma State. This is a top-ranked team, Joe, 16th in the country. It's going to be a fun one for Tennessee. But, Joe, it's that time.
Okay.
It's that time.
Wait, you mean that time? Like we're doing this now?
Yes, it's that time.
Okay, well, then I have a pre-cover 5 question.
That's good. That's good. I'm still trying to think of the music we got to go
we got to come up with that part.
But I'm just going to – I just found some random song. I'm just going to – Is this –
what in heaven's name is this? I've heard 2 seconds of this.
No, you know what?
What is that some anime like crap? Is
it's
that what
not
that
anime, Joe. It's Legend of Zelda.
Okay, see,
that's and you're talking to me about anime crap. Look at your hat, Joe. Look at your freaking hat.
No, I know, because anime is nothing but 90s cartoons in 2025. That's all it is.
Actually, I saw a preview for one that you're really gonna like. It's about a girl who works inside of a ballpark for a professional baseball team, and she works as one of the beer hawkers.
Oh, okay, yeah, I probably would watch
so
it.
now Joe's just like, anime.
What's that on?
Probably Crunchyroll.
See, there we go. Yeah. So that I'll watch that anime. No, here's my question, because before going to the Havoc Hour last night, you're just gonna test stuff out as we're going.
No, this is the one.
Okay, cool.
Dire Docs, Super Mario 64.
I need to know if I am justified in doing something.
Okay.
Okay, this is not a cover 5 question. So yesterday afternoon, before going to the Havoc Hour, my dad and I met for lunch at Blue Oak, which
you actually go out and eat with your dad. That's great.
yeah. Well, again, I didn't get invited to Blue Oak the first time that we were out at Blue Oak, so I had to go on my own.
I got you.
Yeah, by your dad. And so so I said, look, I want to go here. I want to try it. I've tried the catered stuff that they were doing when they were bringing it to UAH is absolutely amazing. The SID at UAH, Tanner, that I basically work with every single game I'm ever working, he told me, look, the food that they bring for the varsity room and stuff is awesome. If you ever go into Blue Oak, you need to try the nachos. So I'm saying, okay, I want to try the nachos. So I go to Blue Oak, I get the nachos. I had no clue at how big this thing was. And so the waitress that brought it to me, she's like, oh, you can eat this. Like, you're going to be fine. You don't need a to-go box or anything. And I looked at it. I was like, woman, you are crazy. There's no way I'm finishing this thing. So I get about a third of the way in. Okay, a third of the way in, and I am done. It was absolutely everything that it had been living up to the hype when it comes to how good the nachos were. That's not the issue. My issue is at some point in time, I get a to-go box. I take it. I put it in my car. Once I get finished going, with Blue Oak, I then go to the Havoc Hour. We do the Havoc Hour. I leave the to-go box in my car. So it's been in the car for an hour or so. No big deal. Nobody's asking any questions about this. The moment that we finish that up, I go to the house. I unload everything. I bring everything back into the house. No big deal. I wake up this morning and I'm getting ready to go back outside. And I just realized I left the to-go box in my car last night.
No. That ruined it, didn't it?
That's why I'm asking the question, because when I went to the car this morning, the box was cold.
Well, that's the thing, though. That's why we can be thankful of these cold nights, because it's like a refrigerator inside of your car.
That's what I'm wondering. Am I still able to eat the nachos even though I left them in the car, but it was cold outside last night, which kept the box cold?
Joe, desperate times come for desperate measures. And I'm going to be honest with you. I've left a few Ghost energy drinks inside of my car overnight, and I destroy those things in the morning. And it's just like a little surprise. So I'm going to say this much. All right. And I also, this is coming from a person that probably picked up a chicken nugget off of the ground after he made his chicken nuggets in the air fryer. It was on the ground for 4 seconds, maybe. I maybe did that. So I think it's fine. They should be fine. You're talking about nachos, right?
Yeah, they're nachos.
Okay. All right.
Oh, no, they were absolutely delicious.
Oh, yeah.
But see, that's the thing is I left it outside, but it was cold last night. It wasn't like this was July and it was left in the heat. Like it was cold. So it's been cold. So I put it in the refrigerator. My wife told me to throw them away, and I told her, no, not yet. I want to figure out if I could still eat these things or not, because they're that good. So I need to know, like, can I eat the nachos or not?
Man, women always trying to save us from.
Trying to save us from food poisoning, please.
What are you gonna do?
So yes, no, because the nachos were so good. I'm thinking, it was cold. It's not like I left this in the heat.
Let's be honest; they should be fine.
Okay,
right? They should be fine,
okay,
especially if you heat them up.
Okay,
they'll be perfect.
All right, that's not one of the cover 5 questions, but this one is.
All right, here we go.
Today, is this Doogie
Just go
Howser?
with it.
This is like Doogie Howser.
This is why I never make custom music for these shows.
It's like the end of Doogie Howser when he's sitting in front of his computer and he's typing his journal.
Everyone's got to comment on the music.
So if you don't know, today would have been Johnny Cash's 93rd birthday.
Happy birthday to him. God bless.
That's right. The Man in Black. I want you to name an artist or band that was the biggest influence when it comes to your current taste in music. And if you say whoever gave you the influence to this song, then there's a massive issue in your life.
I don't know why, Joe. The first thing that popped to my mind, and I don't know if I answer this too many times with this answer, I'd say it's Lonely Island. As a person,
I can't get upset about that.
As a human being, like, I grew up on Lonely Island. It was Beastie Boys, then it was Lonely Island. That's how it goes.
One of them is a very amazing genre. I mean, literally, they influence an entire genre of music. And you, on the other hand, are sitting here like, no, you know what? I'm all about some Lonely Island, and I'm on a boat.
Listen to me, all right?
Like a boss.
The Beastie Boys taught everybody
in a box
how to be a painter. They gave not just a man a fish, but they taught the man how to fish. And Lonely Island was on that Lonely Island fishing nonstop.
Well, I mean, they were on a lonely island. They had to be.
Well, at one point they were on a boat.
Yeah. And I mean, they celebrate the small things, even things that they do in their bedroom.
Is that a good answer, Joe?
I mean, look, there isn't a good answer. This is your answer. This is what it is, because I can't really look my genre of music. I could probably name 2 or 3 bands that literally are the reason why I listen to the stuff outside of the studio that I absolutely do. And that is it is going to be Disturbed and probably Creed. Those are the 2. There's a reason why I go with the harder rock stuff.
Gotcha.
Because a lot of Creed stuff before they went in mainstream was very hard. And a lot of the good Nickelback songs are actually also very good and very hard, but Disturbed, totally different level.
Well, the one reason why Nickelback is in our minds rent-free is because of Spider-Man 1. Let's just be honest, Joe.
No, that wasn't even Nickelback. That was Chad Kroeger and Josie Scott.
At the end?
I
always thought that was Nickelback.
No.
After credits.
Chad Kroeger is the lead singer of Nickelback.
Well, still, that's Nickelback.
But the artist on that song it'll say, when you look it up, it doesn't say Saliva and Nickelback.
Gotcha.
It says Chad Kroeger and Josie Scott. I'm so glad that we got over that meadow. We're walking through that meadow of sunflowers as we're trying to get back to our cottage that we have over there. I can see the smoke coming out the chimney right now.
Now we're on DK Isle. Donkey Kong 64.
Oh my!
I gotta shout out the games. Maybe people could guess.
All right, so
again, this is also for the listeners as well. 256-576-97.7. Thanks, Steve. I was like looking at you. I was like, "There's nobody talking right now," but he said 4.
All right, so last night, you mentioned it during the first segment. Georgia upset Florida.
Huge.
Oklahoma State upset Iowa State.
I didn't watch that.
What did they both do after they won the game?
They stormed the freaking court.
Okay.
And maybe relocated a head football coach in the meanwhile.
Is there a sports tradition that you were just totally over? Because you know what? The storming of the court thing, I'm kind of over it. I just am. Like,
I don't know how you could ever get over this, Joe.
Because I don't it happens way too much.
It might be a little overplayed, but
I really genuinely think it should be reserved for a top 5 upset. Like if you're unranked and you upset like the number 3 team in the country.
Look, I don't know all of the details to the latter game that you talked about. What game was it again?
The latter game.
The Illinois. What was it? Illinois.
It was Oklahoma State, Iowa State.
Okay.
Yeah,
Iowa State. All right. But I will say this, and that is a top-ranked matchup because Iowa State's not a bad team. But I think it's the best thing ever. I mean, in sports, especially when you're in that type of environment, a closed-in space might be a little dangerous, but at the same time, that is the epitome of excitement, storming the court. I will say this, for football, it's a little extra. It is a little extra because you got to jump over the bushes, jump over the fence, jump over the police, some of the security guards, maybe a mascot. That right there can be a little extra. I'm a little over it. I'm also a little over the planting of the flag. And before it's even
it hasn't even become a thing.
It hasn't even really taken off.
I wanted to make this a segment during football season.
I know you do.
I wanted to make it a segment, kind of like Dog of the Week. I wanted to be like, all right, we want you to know who planted their flag this week.
Planting the flag is so sloppy. The way it has been done, the turf fields, the spraying of the pepper spray. I mean, it's awkward.
No, but the whole planting the flag, I had a whole bit planned for this. It was for road teams and road quarterbacks or road players that went in a big game, and they're the ones that dominated inside of their opponent's stadium. It's who planted the flag this week. Like, that was what it is.
I get it.
And I'm over it. It hasn't even started yet.
It's just, it's not something I think is going to really catch on. I think
storming the court, I'm definitely over. I mean, that it just happens way too much, and it's way too easy.
It's a college school.
Yeah, but it's way too easy to do it. Because it's a small area. They're really close to the court. It's
not at Vanderbilt, though.
No, not at Vanderbilt. They got to climb up like a 5-foot wall just to be able to try to get onto the court.
Do, yeah.
Excuse me, let me take the steps. and even with the storming the field, look, and I will say this, and I will again look directly into the camera.
So what?
I understood Auburn storming the field after 2013. I get that. That made sense. The other times, 2015, 2017, there was no reason to storm the field. That was dumb. That was absolutely dumb. And I'm saying this as an Auburn fan. That was dumb. Like absolutely idiotic. There's no reason to storm the field in those situations. In fact, I remember standing on the sidelines with a buddy of mine, John, and looking over, different John. No H.
The photographer?
No, different John.
Okay.
Still no H. Still no H.
Liggett?
No.
That's no H.
No. Friend, please. Dominated him in fantasy this year. So no, I looked over at him and I went, are they really storming the field? Like, why are we storming the field? Why are we storming the field here?
Doesn't have to happen every time.
Yeah, like what's the purpose of this? Like again, Clemson's a little different. They do it every single game. It's part of the tradition of Clemson. Like after games, they always go onto the field. That's different. But yeah, storming the field. Don't know. All right. Third question.
Okay, one sec.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
We're back.
This is so bad. Okay.
I didn't mean for this to happen. You didn't figure out a song for your own segment.
It's going to be now. I'm going to be forced to figure one out because this is. I truly feel like.
Don't like that little trumpet in the background.
Have you seen Inside Out 2?
Not yet.
Okay, there's a character in there that's like from Final Fantasy. This is all I think of. Anybody that's seen Inside Out 2, you know the one that I'm talking about, the one that has the worthless finisher. That's all I'm envisioning right now is this.
Is this the question? Is that the question you asked?
Last night, Luka beat the Mavs. First game against the Mavs since being traded.
Well, they suck, so.
Doesn't matter. Can you name a game that you remember watching where all you wanted was for the player to stick it to his old team?
Oh, that's a tough one. There's so many Cleveland Browns quarterbacks that have moved on. Oh, Joe, you answer this one first. I know I'm supposed to be the one, but I need a little bit.
No, I mean, I literally asked the questions for both of us anyway. I hate myself for this being my answer, but this was the last one that I can really think of, mainly now because I literally loathe this basketball player with a passion.
Okay.
The first game that Kevin Durant had against Oklahoma State or Oklahoma City in Oklahoma City. All of the fans for Oklahoma City was wearing all the cupcake t-shirts and they kept calling him a cupcake before the game and everything about it. Like, they were blasting for going to Golden State. Now, in retrospective, totally right. I mean, every single thing about you said about KD was 1000% correct. I mean, he is seriously the softest basketball player in history. And thank you.
This is your fault.
But I wanted KD to just dominate Oklahoma City in that game. They went on the road. They were in OKC. They were everybody was just all on top of them. It was like a college basketball game. And I remember him like nailing a 3-pointer from like 5 feet behind the line. I'm just like that. Yep. That's it right there. That's what I want to see. Like that was it. After that game, I think I've hated him ever since. But it was that one game was the one that I thought, I want to see the players stick it to their old team.
Gotcha. Okay. I'll go with a newer story. And even though the Browns lost to this one, Jerry Jeudy and his insane performance against the Broncos, that was one thing that I could say was very satisfying. 235 receiving yards against his former team that, expected a lot from him, but couldn't get him the freaking football.
Yeah.
That right there is something that I think is sweet as can be.
Mm-hmm. No, that absolutely fits it. All right. So we did have more questions. We may get to those at some point in time for the remainder of this. But when we come back, the Titans might have just tipped their hand at what they may be doing in the NFL draft. I'll explain when we come back. 256-576-977 as you listen and watch the Blitz on WZZN TV, ESPN Winchester, and 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is Brent Musburger's VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
For a limited time, GBank is offering a $250 bonus when you open a GBank Visa signature card. Apply today at vsin.com/GBank.
Top-ranked Auburn Tigers a 12.5-point favorite at home with Ole Miss today in SEC basketball. 153.5 the total at Neville Arena. North Alabama laying 7.5 at home with Queens. 155.5 at Flowers Hall. South Alabama visiting Southern Miss as a 7.5-point road favorite. 139.5 the total at Reed Green Coliseum. College baseball today. Troy $1.80 favorite over UAB plus 140. NASCAR Circuit of the Americas. It's the Echo Park, Texas Grand Prix on Sunday. Shane Van Gisbergen, the 5-1 favorite. Connor Zilich has gone from 5-1 to 6-1. Tyler Riddick, 7-1. For more, go to VSIN.com. Mike Sennett, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
We aren't a winning school. We are a championship school, and we make legends. Join the Crimson Tide as they look to continue to rise to the top of the NCAA basketball mountain. Every game, all season, right here on your home for Alabama basketball. The Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield.
The state's largest orthopedic group is growing to meet the needs of the patients in our community. The Orthopedic Center has long been the most trusted name in orthopedics in North Alabama. So as our area continues on the fast track, so does the need for premier orthopedic care anywhere and anytime you need it. TOC is proud to announce the opening of our new locations in Albertville and Hampton Cove, along with the grand opening of our newest office in Decatur. These clinics will offer the same high-quality orthopedic care you have come to associate with TOC, with the convenience of being closer to home. As a patient, your time is your most precious asset, and we recognize that at TOC. That's why we are also proud to announce the opening of our urgent ortho clinics to handle those bumps and bruises that need prompt attention. These clinics are available to care for acute orthopedic injuries with no appointment necessary. With 38 physicians, 20 centers of excellence, and now more than a dozen locations to serve you, TOC will continue to be the name you turn to for the best orthopedic care at the right time. Visit our website at visittoc.com for more information. TOC, helping you live a better life.
When you call most roofing companies, all you'll hear is, you need a new roof. Not when you call Fleming. At Fleming Roofing and Restoration, we're focused on your needs, whether it's an easy repair or a full roof replacement. Folks around here have trusted Fleming since 1965 for all their residential and commercial roofing needs. And as the area's storm damage experts, Fleming knows all the ins and outs of the insurance claims process. Log on FlemingHSV.com to schedule your free estimate today. Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
Hi, my name is Dan Aldridge. I'm here to let you know about the Aldridge Law Firm and the soon-to-be-announced Legal Town Center. I've been practicing law in Alabama since 1984, and I also practice in Tennessee. And I'm from North Alabama, and I'm here to represent you and take care of your legal needs. For many of us, hiring an attorney is not high on the priority list, and maybe a little scary. But it's something that we all need at some point. So by all means, do your homework. And if you need representation for car accident, wrongful death, medical malpractice, nursing home abuse, or estate planning, or any other matter, just give us a call at 256-534-3188. And you can email me at Dan, that is Dan at danaldridgelaw.com. Dan at danaldridgelaw.com. God bless America.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
I'm here with Vice President of Mortgage from Bank of Frank Ewing, John Kendall. And John, if you're hearing this commercial right now and you're thinking of getting a new house, boy, oh boy, do you guys have a deal.
We do. It's a grant. $25,000 if you're a veteran, $20,000 if you're not a veteran. This can be used for closing costs, down payment.
Very simple. All you have to do is give Bank of Frank Ewing a call at
256-507-9180.
And how long does this process take?
Oh, it takes just a few minutes, maybe 15, 30 minutes on the phone. We'll send you a link and you fill that out in your own time. We'll approve you.
Who would not want $25,000 for a new house? John Kendall, give them the phone number and online address one more time.
256-507-9180 or at bankoffrankewing.com.
It's Bank of Frank Ewing giving you $25,000 for a new house. Bank of Frank Ewing in Hazel Green is an FDIC insured bank as well as an equal housing lender.
NMLS number 446707.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. A fantastic Wednesday afternoon across North Alabama, southern Middle Tennessee. We get to enjoy plenty of sunshine. Temperatures consistently going to climb into the lower 70s today. The average high temperature somewhere in the upper 50s and lower 60s, dropping into the upper 40s, lower 50s as we head into the overnight, early into your Thursday morning. There could be a couple of isolated showers through the early and middle part of Thursday morning. The vast majority of us going to end up staying dry. A partly sunny to mostly cloudy sky Thursday afternoon. Temperatures climbing into the upper. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Attention, attention, may I have the camp's attention?
Your home of the college football playoffs.
Playoffs?
Is 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Playoffs? Playoffs?
Damn it, Joe. What is this music?
Dude.
I mean,
come on now.
I mean, go America, but damn.
Really?
Nashville really is still stuck on you, and it smells.
No, it doesn't. No, trust me. What that smell is that car air freshener that I put in here yesterday.
Oh, the Old Spice Fiji?
Dude, I seriously, I didn't expect it to be that bad.
No, it's terrible.
I mean, look, I'm not saying like our studios are like the biggest things that, take up an entire block of the city or anything.
And it didn't even smell bad. It wasn't like it smelled terrible.
It was just strong.
It was ruining our nostrils.
And the problem with it is that you could smell it throughout the entire building. And I'm thinking, this thing is meant for a single car.
You know what I'd rather be smelling? Full Moon Barbecue. And I
Oh,
know
that's what you need to be
our
smelling.
listeners would be as well. Head on over to Big Zone Deals. You can find it over on 97.7 ESPN.com. Get yourself some Full Moon as well as many of the other top restaurants here in the North Alabama area. And on top of that, there's some fun times to come as well, including golf, flow, Supreme Air. It's a trampoline park. You probably heard of it. And on top of that, Divergence VR theme park. Get those while they last. You can explore different worlds, Joe.
Right now, down in Birmingham, Final 48 is going on. It is the 6A girls semifinals. And Hazel Green, who is basically like they've won like in the last 12 state championships in a row, they are now tied with Park Crossing with 5 minutes to go in the third quarter. So
We'll keep them updated on that one, I guess.
That's actually a big one, and it obviously connects to the Tennessee Valley. So yeah, is 20 actually correction. Park Crossing actually just took a 3-point lead. So yeah, just took a 3-point lead on Hazel Green. So
Wow.
there's still a quarter and a half to go in this game, but we'll keep you updated on that. And before the break, we were talking because I asked you the question about if the Tennessee Titans have kind of tipped their hand as to what they were going to be doing in the draft. For people that don't know, earlier this morning, it came out very early, like maybe right even before Talking Ball got going at 7 a.m., that Adam Schefter's found out that the Tennessee Titans have granted former Pro Bowl linebacker Harold Landry permission to seek a trade. And this is obviously big for, again, the possibility of him seeking a trade. The whole thing about this is that he is supposed to be due $17.5 million in 2025. So this trade in a few avenues could benefit Tennessee if they do find a kind of a dancing partner with being able to trade Harold Landry away if they do find one. Why do you think this would be them tipping their hand?
Well, I mean, this would have to be them backing off of that first pick, right?
You could look at it that way, or the person that they could potentially be looking at is also an outside linebacker from Penn State, Abdul Carter, who's considered the number 2 player in the draft, and is being connected to the Titans potentially drafting him. So that's where I'm thinking, like, not saying that this is connected, but if you're going to pay one outside linebacker their rookie contract as a number 1 overall draft pick, the other one, $17.5 million, be nice to get that off the books if you're going to, so that you're not having to pay 2 outside linebackers that salary.
Not wrong.
Especially when you play in a defense, a lot of times there's only 2 linebackers on the field.
I miss Colin McCarthy.
To me, I saw that, and my first thought is you're only getting rid of a Harold Landry if you're going to draft Abdul Carter at the number 1 pick. The thing about this is, if you look at Harold Landry's stats compared to some of the other quote unquote best outside linebackers in the NFL, if the Titans do find a dancing partner with this could almost, if the right team may give you a first round pick for him. Now, the reason I say this, it would most likely be a second round pick, but over the last 3 years, I compared Harold Landry, Fred Warner from the 49ers, and Roquan Smith from the Bears and the Ravens. Now,
pretty good company to be in.
It is good company. Now, for Harold Landry, the 3 seasons I had to use for him, I had to use 21, 23, and 24 because 2022 tore his ACL and he didn't play in a single game. Tackles wise, Roquan Smith almost doubles the amount of tackles that what a Harold Landry has. Roquan has 481 tackles. Fred Warner has 393 tackles, and Harold Landry has 216 tackles. That's over the last 3 years. Outside of that stat, Harold Landry dominates the other two.
And he's 28 years old.
Yeah. Roquan Smith and Fred Warner combined do not have the number of sacks that Harold Landry has, who has 31 and a half sacks over the last 3 years. Combined, they don't have the tackles for loss that Harold Landry has in 43. And combined, they don't have the QB hits that Harold Landry has in the last 3 seasons.
Put him on the right team, and he's a star.
Tackle-wise, you would look at the numbers like, all right, sacks, TFLs, QB hits, he doubles the 2 best outside linebackers in the NFL.
That's insane. That's wild.
You could get a dancing partner. You may be able to draft back up and have 2 first-round picks this year.
More fun conversation coming up around the corner. Second hour coming up next.
By now, you know about Eagle Masonry and Insulation, and maybe you know that Eagle also does landscaping and dirt work. But how about after paint work? Shower doors, shelving, and mirrors, all taken care of by Eagle, the same Eagle that takes care of all your masonry, insulation, and landscaping needs. Eagle brings the same level of expertise to all these disciplines, and they're ready to provide you with a free quote. The website is the same, insulatewitheagle.com, as is the phone number, 256-755-1556. Give them a call and see what Eagle can do for you. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money.
In the Army National Guard, soldiers serve part-time and close to home.
My community means everything to me. It helps shape me into who I am today, and is where I choose to raise my own family. That's why I joined the Army National Guard. I'm proud of where I'm from, and as a soldier, I get to give back to the people that helped me succeed. The education benefits I got from serving helped me get my degree and jumpstart my career. The training and leadership skills I've gained from the Army National Guard help me every day when I teach young people, help my neighbors, and look out for my community. I know that when my neighbors need us the most, my fellow soldiers and I will be ready. My family loves it here, and my part-time service means we get to stay here.
Serve part-time in the community you live in as a proud member of the Army National Guard. Talk to your local recruiter or visit nationalguard.com. Sponsored by the Alabama Army National Guard, aired by the Alabama Broadcasters Association and this station.
We aren't a winning school. We are a championship school, and we make legends. Join the Crimson Tide as they look to continue to rise to the top of the NCAA basketball mountain. Every game, all season, right here on your home for Alabama basketball, the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield.
Gunner's Landing is one of the Tennessee Valley's finest golf experiences. Just 35 minutes from downtown Huntsville, Gunner's Landing's 18-hole championship jewel is open to the public 7 days a week. Located in the foothills of the Appalachian Mountains, Gunner's Landing offers you a golf experience like no other. With beautiful Lake Gunnersville views throughout the round, Gunner's Landing is golf the way nature intended. Gunner's Landing's club repair shop offers a full range of services, including re-gripping and adjusting the lofts and lies of your clubs, even putters. Since the work is done in-house, your club will be returned to you in a timely manner. Unmatched in the North Alabama area, it is Gunner's Landing. Schedule your tee time today at gunnerslandings.com. That's gunnerslanding.com.
What does it mean to be a part of the Southeastern Conference? That you paint your body, your car, and your dog your school colors? Maybe. But it means more than that. It means your alumni network includes the state, the country, and beyond. It means your school ring doubles as your resume. And yeah, you better believe it means more titles, like doctor, CEO, and your honor. Because this is the SEC. And here, it just means more. What does it mean to be part of the Southeastern Conference? That yours is the only conference with its own chant? Well, yes, but it means more than that. It means a study abroad program that might include reforestation in a mangrove swamp in Australia. It means finding your calling, your future spouse, your startup's co-founders, and of course, grilling tongs that play your fight song. This is the SEC, and here, it just means more.
Listen to UAH Charger basketball all season long.
So when we came out of the timeout, Coach Hedge had initially called a man play, and they ended up faking a zone. So the whole bench was yelling zone, zone, zone. So we tried to switch the play last second. We ended up getting confused. So Tommy swung it to me, and I initially was like, all right, I'm going to try and get to the rim right here. We're only down 2. We don't need a 3. And he flipped his hips real hard, and I tossed it back. And as soon as I let it go, I knew it was in.
Campbell to plug it in. 81-79 Union. Inbounds it goes. Dribbling it out from Tommy Murs. Swings it over to Campbell. Campbell on the wing for the lead. Oh, my God! Campbell! It's a 3! Into the front court for the win! No good! No good! No good! Blake Campbell with some onions from Jackson, Tennessee!
97.7 ESPN The Zone. Log on today, 977ESPN.com. Joe Hunk, John Abraham, 256-576-4977. Welcome to the Blitz.
Second hour, final hour, best hour here on 97.7 ESPN The Zone, WZPN TV. It's the Blitz with me and Joe Hunk.
That's right. And right now down in Birmingham, Hazel Green is trailing by 1 point with 5 seconds to go in the third, and the 6A girls semifinal that is going on down as part of the Final 48 down at the BJCC. Why is this such a big deal? Because Hazel Green is in the state semifinals for the 11th straight season, and they have won 7 straight state championships.
That's wild to me. That's still, it's a wonderful run, but to think, that this day would come, it was going to happen.
Well, but
you don't know who it's going to come from, as well as what exact year it's going to come.
Well, and again, it's now tied as they go to the fourth. So we still have one more quarter to go.
Yeah.
But it's a big deal because, think about this. This is your Alabama, this is your USC, this is those teams that, you could even say a Clemson and Oklahoma back in Nebraska in the 90s. Like, it's them making it to the semifinals after winning national championships. And now they're in the semifinals and they're in a dogfight. Not saying that they're not going to win, because obviously Tim Miller and the way that this team has been coached by him for like the last decade, we obviously know how good they are. But it's the simple fact that, we're so used to Hazel Green dominating teams. I mean, heck, even them losing to Spring Garden earlier in the year was a big surprise.
Yeah, there was a stretch from 2017 all the way like 2020 where the team has only lost like maybe 5 games, 6 games, I would say total. And that's across all of those seasons. I mean, this is a team that does not lose a lot. And although this past season they dropped 4 games, this year they're on a hotter run than they've been, I would say, ever since they started this run. So it has been ridiculous to see, and regardless of if they win or not, we're hoping that they win because we want more of the, of course, local teams to get the dub. We're probably still going to see some Hazel Green girls or the entire team at the Rocket City Awards this year, which I'm very much looking forward to.
Yeah, which I don't think we haven't solidified all that stuff yet.
Well, no, but I'm just saying.
No, I was about to talk about it as I way say we haven't solidified any of that stuff just yet. So,
but we know it's gonna happen.
Wait, do I gotta wear a suit for that?
I wear a suit. You want to wear a suit? You could wear something like a t-shirt suit. That would be funny.
No, I know. Do I look like the t-shirt suit guy?
Kinda.
No, I don't.
Maybe.
My son today had they're doing this little thing as he's learning to spell and learning to read words. And so they're doing something at Hazel Green. They're doing it where it's the marriage of Q and U.
Okay.
Because Q and U always kind of go together, in every word.
They're bros.
So they're doing this little bitty cute thing where they're doing a wedding between the letters Q and U. And so all the kids had to like dress up like it was a wedding. And so we, son's in a button down, all that, no big deal. I mean, he's in that jeans. And right before we were about to get him ready, I looked at my wife and I was like, do we have a tuxedo t-shirt? And the first thing she said is, oh my heavens, why didn't we think about that? We could have got it this weekend.
Yeah.
That would have been perfect.
You would have saved yourself an hour and a half dressing up little Ollie as well. But he probably looks very drippy.
Oh no, he absolutely has major drip going in there. He has only one girlfriend right now. He's kind of settled down.
I respect that, man.
He's settled down.
Got to take a break. It gets a little too heated every once in a while. But Joe, you may not look like a tuxedo man, but you do look like a guy that knows about a good roof. Fleming Roofing and Restoration, the guys you need to talk to about all of your roofing needs. If you're having any roofing problems, make sure you look them up online. FlemingHSV.com is the place to find to fill out your free quote today. And remember that Fleming always shows up.
And there may be more people. No, there's going to be fewer people. They're probably going to show up to what is going to be the quote unquote A-Day game this year.
What are they doing? What are we doing here?
It's a modified spring game, man. It's a modified spring game.
It makes sense that you would still want to do something because they don't want to lose their little sponsorship with Golden Flakes. This is a little extra money that's coming Alabama's way.
Look,
you got to remember that it's presented by Golden Flakes.
But here's the other problem. Here's the question. I don't know how much Golden Flakes is paying them. I really don't.
And they do stuff for the basketball team.
They do. I can almost guarantee you whatever they're going to make in making it to the first round of the CFB playoffs is more than what Golden Flakes is paying them. I'm going to assume.
I don't know, man.
I'm just going to go out on a limb and I'm going to say that. But then
it's college football we're talking about.
No, I understand.
Millions are thrown around like
look,
nothing.
If you get to the college football playoff semifinals, like if you're one of the top 4 teams, which is part of what's being talked about yesterday during the meetings that were taking place in Dallas, they keep talking about the financial reasoning behind it. And for people like, wait, what are they talking about? The teams that made it to the quarterfinals, which means the top 4 teams that got a bye, they were automatically paid $8 million.
Oh yeah.
So they got $4 million for qualifying and then $4 million for advancing to the quarterfinals, the same way that the other teams are getting the $4 million and all the money that they are. So the whole straight ranking system that the SEC and the Big Ten want to implement, the other universities and the other conferences want more of an explanation of the payment method in all of this, because yes, your Arizona State got $8 million. Those teams that normally Boise State got $8 million. Like that's a big deal for those programs to get that money, because the reason why Arizona State left the Pac-12 is because they only think they were getting $1 million from the Pac-12 network. So getting $8 million for making the college football playoff in the quarterfinals is a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why they want to know about, okay, what about the money distribution and things along those lines? So that is the quote unquote big hang up right now when it's talking about moving to a straight seeding, meaning the number 1, 2, 3, and 4 team in the country will be getting the first round bye, not the 4 best conference champions.
Yeah. And a lot of the times whenever we look at the money in college football, we think, where's it all coming from? And it builds up over time. For a lot of teams that actually have the capabilities to get these types of sponsorships, like the Alabamas, like the SEC conference, just all together, you got teams that are able to throw around this money. So it's not a big deal to them. But for the Boise States, that's a different story right there. You get $4 million each round until it gets into the semifinals, because then it adds up to $6 million. Then you get $6 million more if you're in the national championship. So we're talking around $15 million across this entire thing. And that's on top of the ESPN payout that they're throwing at the SEC right now. And also the Big Ten.
And so the reason why I bring all that up is because the making it into that is going to get you paid, and nothing against the Lay's deal and everything. We know how long that they've been there and all this, but if you're going to do a spring game, quote unquote, I almost am curious because it is 10:09 right now. So in about 20 minutes, this is about to get going over at the VBC. So we appreciate everybody that is listening to us as they are heading into the Probst Arena right now, because the school day showcase is about to get going over there for the Huntsville Havoc. It's going to be very similar to what you kind of saw with the skills competition for the season ticket holders that took place earlier in the year. We had it on the Havoc Hour.
It's a great time.
It was. In fact, we did get asked if we were going to be able to be there today, but it kind of doesn't really fall into what we do because it starts at 10:30. It goes probably through parts of Tom's show. Both of us couldn't be there and do Tom's show. And so it was kind of a, yeah. So that's the reason why we weren't there, and we're not going to be there today. But the way that Coach Steffen talked about it last night during the Havoc Hour, they're going to do a little bit of a scrimmage, and then they're also going to do a little bit of a skills competition. And I will go ahead and Palms, if you're listening right now, I may have thrown you under the bus on something. I'm not 100% sure, and I could not remember who it was that said this, but it was, for all I know, it could have been Terry Ryder. I'm not sure. But one of the defensemen that was on the Havoc Hour said that they think that they could outdo McCabe's 92 miles per hour on his hardest shot.
I remember you talking
and
about
I can't
that.
remember if it was Ryder, if it was Palms, but I said Palms, like talking to Coach Steffen, and he's like, well, we may have that out there tomorrow. Like, anybody can go. So I say that because Palms, if you're the one that gets called out on this and it wasn't you that said that, I'm so sorry because I misremembered that entirely, if that's the case.
He goes out there and he's just like, yeah, I guess I'm supposed to hit this. I wasn't even going to do it today, but Coach was pushing me towards it.
Coach, why are you pushing me? Well, I heard what you said on the Havoc. That wasn't me.
He hits it 85, and it's like, that's respectable, but at the same time, we're talking like he was being hyped up to hit like 110.
I know, and it may be Terry Ryder, and I would say, Terry's already suspended for the Macon game tomorrow night because of what happened in the Knoxville game on Saturday. But it may have been Ryder. I can't remember. I know it was a defenseman that said it during the Havoc Hour. They some of the conversations run together. And I think that if you're going to do an A-Day, though, it should be similar to what's happening with the school day showcase. You do a little bit of a scrimmage. You kind of have a little bit of fun, but then you turn it around and you actually do these like skill competitions and stuff where this is more angled towards the fans having fun with this.
And I think that's the perfect way of doing this transition away from the spring game. Exactly. I feel like with Auburn, they do it right. What is it? Big Cat Weekend that they do. It might be Kentucky that does it as well, but they try and have a little bit of a fun weekend altogether on top of the spring game. And that's something that I think is very ideal because it doesn't just help with recruiting, but it also really helps with still getting your fans a little bit of eyes on your team and what they can do without putting your players at risk, without getting unnecessary reps in there, even though every rep is necessary in the SEC, and also without showing off too much, and if it's not televised, that is going to very much help it. If it is going to be televised, though, it should only be on local Tuscaloosa networks, but that's if I'm going to be a stickler, and I'm not, so there should be a way for, Alabama season ticket holders from around the country that are able to still watch some of these games.
Well, look, the thing is that with a lot of these practices and stuff, and I know that fans are getting all upset about, oh, well, we don't get to see the team unless we're in a Red Elephant Club or anything like this.
What happened to tradition?
And guys, again, this is becoming more of an NFL model. And in the NFL, they do have open practices to like season ticket holders and things like that, just kind of like what the Havoc did with the skills competition. Yeah. They do these events where you can go and watch practice. And all of the fans are welcomed as that are season ticket holders. They get to go in, they get to literally stand a foot from the field and watch everything and talk to the players afterwards. All the players come over and sign autographs. It's a big fun thing that way. But you're also not showing everything that's going on and all the fans that are there. Heck, unless you're truly sitting there and mapping out every single play, which is going to be very hard to do unless you're like standing up at the very top.
Or named Stallions.
Yeah, absolutely. Now he can map them very well. He's probably got those like Facebook glasses that you can just
the Ray-Bans Meta glasses.
Meta glasses, yeah. And so this isn't like it's something that is unusual that you would be invited to watch a practice instead of being able to go into the stadium with 90,000 people and do it. I think that if we are going to keep any sort of the spring game type of thing, which I think 1,000% this thing should be moved to August, that if you're going to do it, it should be more tailored towards the kids and towards the families and towards all that, because that's what the big deal is, right? Oh, well, families get to go to Bryant-Denny. They normally don't get to go to a regular game because of how expensive it is. Then bring kids on the field, have them do like a 40-yard dash with the player, have them do like a longest throw competition between some of the kids.
Kelly, the boy's like, man, I think I found the best wide receiver of 2036.
Well, hold up right now. Son, when you were throwing right there to that right hash mark, I saw you kind of look over to the left hash mark. Our last quarterback didn't do that. Did you just make a decision on that in the midst of you throwing that you were going to throw to the right one instead of the left one? Do you know how gifted you are to be able to make a decision while you're about to throw? We don't have a quarterback like that. How old are you? I just pooped my pants. Oh, that's no problem, son. We'll just it's okay. We can wipe that up. It's no big deal. Boy, what about just making this decision thing? See, let's do that.
He's like, I want Sonic. I like the way you think. Like, kid, you know you were supposed to hit the wide receiver, but you know what? You did hit the goalpost, and that's some accuracy. And you know what? You're only 20 yards away from it. That's called a medium pass right there.
Dude, look, kick competition, have the little kids try to make a 20-yard field goal. Just have fun with it. Not make it okay, well, let me see right now what this third-string cornerback potentially is going to be doing when he's going up against the number 2 wide receiver. Oh, look, he looks like he's a little bit slow on the inside move. Like, no.
Doesn't need to all be serious.
No, let's have fun with it. Let's make it more about the fans. They're still going to pay to go it. Their kids actually get to play on the field with the Alabama players. Would that not be better than what they're actually doing now when you're sitting there and they're getting bored? Like, if we're going to change this around, let's make it a little bit more fun and interactive.
I agree. And maybe our next guest is going to be able to help us understand a little bit more of what Alabama has in mind. I don't know. Who knows? I don't even know if they might even still have a game, but I don't know if it's going to be the same. And then this also might be just the last year. I don't know. Cody Goodwin's going to help out with it a lot on the other side from Bama 247.
And we will have an update for you from the 6A girls semifinals. It is a 1-point game with 1:40 to go.
Oh, jeez. Can we just take a break for like 4 or 5 minutes?
No, because then it would be done. Okay, we'll be back on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone, WZZN TV, and the Blitz.
The Drive.
You know, both those guys have done a good job in what we've asked them to do, and both of them have developed nicely, and both of them have consistently made plays.
Wes and Steve.
Their decision-making, their judgment, their ability not to force things and take what the defense gives and distribute the ball with good decision-making, down in, down out, is, you know, probably the only thing that's going to be any different about them, because it's not physical ability or talent. So it's intangibles, leadership, decision-making, judgment, and all those types of things. And, you know, both guys have done a good job in that regard as well.
Listen to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton each weekday afternoon starting at 5. We are your home of ESPN Radio, 97.7 The Zone.
This is Brent Musburger's VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. For a limited time, GBank is offering a $250 bonus when you open a GBank Visa Signature Card. Apply today at vsin.com/GBank.
Top-ranked Auburn Tigers, a 12.5-point favorite at home with Ole Miss today in SEC basketball. 153.5 the total at Neville Arena. North Alabama laying 7.5 at home with Queens. 155.5 at Flowers Hall. South Alabama visiting Southern Miss as a 7.5-point road favorite. 139.5 the total at Reed Green Coliseum. College baseball today. Troy $1.80 favorite over UAB plus 140. NASCAR Circuit of the Americas. It's the Echo Park, Texas Grand Prix on Sunday. Shane Van Gisbergen, the 5-1 favorite. Connor Zilich has gone from 5-1 to 6-1. Tyler Riddick, 7-1. For more, go to VSIN.com. Mike Sennett, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Are you trying to find a new house? Are you trying to find the right loan, the right people to do your loan? Look no further than the Bank of Frank Ewing in Hazel Green. John Kendall, the Vice President of Mortgage with me. John, when they need a loan, and I say they, when people need a loan, it's about them.
That's right, Scott. Our whole motto is it's all about you. We're going to be okay. You're the one making the investment. We want to make sure that you're taken care of.
How do they find you?
Give us a call at 256-507-9180, or they can catch us online at bankoffrankewing.com.
It's Bank of Frank Ewing in Hazel Green, where they take the home loan to you and they make it all about you. Bank of Frank Ewing in Hazel Green is an FDI insured bank as well as an equal housing lender.
NMLS number 446707.
Sometimes the coolest little gems are found a little off the beaten path, and that's exactly where you will find Hickory Store Barbecue. They are on Blake Bottom Road, just east of Jeff Road, and it's definitely worth the trip. The smokers are going on site daily, and they have the best smoked wings around. You'll love the fireplace and the covered patio, and best of all, Hickory Store Barbecue is locally owned and operated by the McAlpins. They even have rotating craft beer taps and live music weekly. Hickory Store Barbecue. Go see what you're missing. Blake Bottom Road in Monrovia. You'll thank me later.
Been thinking about what kind of truck you need to pull that big boat or shiny Airstream Classic? I'd like to invite you to feel the torque of an F-150 Power Boost Hybrid. It combines the forces of gas and electric power for over 11,000 pounds of towing muscle. Hey folks, Bobby White back again for Woody Anderson Ford, where you can test drive over 200 new F-150s. And you can save up to $13,500 off MSRP on a 24 XLT 4x4 with the Power Boost engine. Save over $13,000 on F-150 today. On your way to a growing family or already have one? Then a Woody Anderson Ford Expedition is your ticket to ride. Save up to $12,000 off MSRP on a 24 Expedition at Woody Anderson Ford. $12,000 off Expedition. And there's more too. Get up to $8,000 off MSRP on the Agile and Sporty Escape ST line. And with a versatile 2024 Edge, you're looking at up to $10,000 off MSRP only at Woody Anderson Ford. Bring on the savings. I'm Bobby White, and I hope to see you soon.
Tick, tick, boom. Bringing the noise. Go, baby, we bringing our toys. Separate men from the boys. Chopper be singing, should be on the voice.
Hazel Green may pull it out as you continue to listen to the Blitz on 97.7 ESPN The Zone, as well as WZZN TV, where you can see myself as well as John Abraham. And here in a second, we're going to be joined by Cody Goodwin. 26 seconds left in the 6A girls semifinal matchup between Hazel Green and Park Crossing. And Hazel Green right now has a 4-point lead.
I think we're just gonna be holding on to this one until after Cody Goodwin. So then the people will have another reason to keep on listening, because we got to get into this Alabama conversation. Because Joe, I don't know if you caught it last night, because it was a very busy day for us as we had to, of course, do the Havoc Hour, and then I honestly was taking a shower and I thought this game was already, started probably halfway through, but no, it was actually before 8. So I actually had time to relax a little bit, eat dinner, and then, watch this game tip off. It started off slow, but it started to get pretty interesting, especially when Alabama, was able to start hitting some threes. And to help us talk a little bit more about this matchup, as well as quite a few of the others around the SECs, Cody Goodwin from Bama 247, and it's always great to get him on. How you doing, Cody?
I'm doing great, man. There's no shortage of conversation when it comes to Alabama sports this time of year. So
no
rock and
doubt.
roll.
No doubt about that. And honestly, we could stick with the Alabama basketball team just all the way through if we wanted to. We're not going to do that. We're not going to. There's so much going on that we got to diversify it a little bit. But last night, we could just talk about every player individually and break down exactly what was either going right or wrong for them. For Mark Sears, he continues to have great, performance. Doesn't hit the 30-plus mark, but at the same time, I believe it was a triple-double that he got, and, still leading this team and looking like one of the best players in the country.
No, man, he looked great. A double-double with 21 points, 10 assists. Believe there was a good stat thrown out in the post-game press conference last night that Mark Sears' Alabama career, they're like 9-0 when he has 7 or more assists. And we've really seen, I think, the best version of Mark Sears really the last 3 games. You mentioned the back-to-back 30-point games, first time he's ever done that in his career, and then he came back with a double-double against Mississippi State last night. I think it's kind of the product of, putting LeBaron Philon back into the starting lineup and really kind of having LeBaron, a little bit of Youngblood, a little bit of Aiden Holloway kind of roaming around at the 1 spot, which kind of allows Mark Sears to play off ball a little bit more. It kind of, you can tell that it flummoxes defenses a little bit because it's like, okay, if Mark's not handling the ball, we have to pay attention to this guy, but also Mark could pop for 30 points literally any night. And it just kind of allows him to be a little bit more of that creator and scorer that ultimately led Alabama to the Final Four last year. And I'll tell you what, they seem to have found something with that in the lineup. I know LeBaron has maybe struggled a little bit with turnovers. He was a lot better about it last night, finished with 5 assists to 2 turnovers and also scored 10 points. But, it seems like Alabama's offense seems to be clicking at, probably the right time given who they've got coming up next on the schedule.
Well, no doubt about that. And it needs to be clicking at this point in the season, especially as we get into the madness. But for a guy like Chris Youngblood, this is just it's an insane story, playing for Kennesaw State for his first few years and then heading to South Florida, still not exactly finding where he needs to be with that right squad, but comes to Alabama. And, of course, he's going to get a little bit less of that spotlight just because this is a very talented team. But, I mean, he is showing out. What's the difference in these past few games compared to when we see him hit under the numbers that under double digits?
He just seems more comfortable out there, right? And there's, here's another fun Alabama basketball stat. When Chris Youngblood scores 10 points, Alabama's 9-0. He hit 10 points 15 minutes into the game last night, 15 game minutes in, and I was just like, all right, game's over.
Ball game.
Start writing our stories now.
Ball game.
But it's
Why do
funny
you think
though,
I
because,
texted you halfway through the game?
right? Yeah, I mean, you guys could sense it too, right? When he just decides to pop for 7 3-pointers, it's like, okay, what's Mississippi State going to answer with? They really didn't have one. And it wasn't just the fact that he got the 10 points 15 minutes into the game. It was also, I think one of his 3-pointers where he got the 10 points was part of an 11-0 run, and we all remembered how that first half ultimately unfolded. So it kind of worked out perfectly there. But no, he just seems a lot more comfortable. Nate's offense and really just the style of play that Alabama, employs under Nate Oates. Sometimes it just takes a minute for guys to get adjusted if they haven't been in the system for a year. That was the case for Youngblood. That was the case for Cliff Amore. That was the case for some of the freshmen, LeBaron Philon as well. It's a very fun style, but sometimes it takes an adjustment to run up and down the floor every single game, to, know when to just fire off, right? He came from Kennesaw State and South Florida, like you said. And so he's probably not used to, just, hey, Nate's probably on his butt, just saying, hey, dude, when you're open at the top of the key like that, just shoot it. If it's a simple ball screen, just rise up and go, right? And so I think we're seeing a little bit more comfortability there from Youngblood and really everybody who's kind of new. But Youngblood obviously popped last night, season best 27 points, 7 3-pointers. Some about Youngblood against Mississippi State. I think Chris Jans and company are going to be pretty glad they don't have to see him again this year.
No, and I know that with this game happening, you said there's a lot of other things going on with Alabama to talk about. And this morning or late yesterday afternoon, I should say, the story about a modified A-Day game, and Alabama fans are trying to figure out what the heck is that and what all is going on with this and going on with that. So with Kalen DeBoer saying a modified A-Day game, what does that envision in your mind that people are going to see on April 12th?
I don't know that this is necessarily new, think about last year's A-Day game. That was somewhat modified. It wasn't really a true game. There were elements of it that were kind of a real game, but it really, it was offense versus defense. The defense scored points for 3 and outs and turnovers and pass breakups and whatever the case may be. It wasn't a true football game in the way that we're probably remembering spring games from, 6, 7, 8 years ago or whatever the case may be. So this doesn't necessarily surprise me. And honestly, it's probably the first early steps of perhaps going away from spring games or spring scrimmages altogether, or maybe it'll eventually evolve into something of a scrimmage, this is probably looking 4 or 5 years down the road now because college football is becoming more and more kind of NFL light. I wouldn't be shocked to see spring games and spring practices and spring scrimmages get replaced with college football's version of OTAs. That would not surprise me at all in the least if, they end up going that route somewhere in the future. But It doesn't really surprise me. They want to focus the spring more on probably development and building conditioning and, trying to get these guys bigger, faster, stronger, that type of thing. And sometimes that means, maybe not rolling out an entire game, but, there's still an element of, spring games or spring scrimmages that I think is valuable. So I wonder how coaches are going to balance that. And, I think as long as DeBoer stays here, we'll probably see him evolve with that a little bit, probably over the next few years. So not a big surprise, honestly, for him to say that it's going to be a modified spring game. Because, when's the last time we actually saw like full suited up pads, everybody going out and hitting each other in the middle of March or early April, right? Like, I think it's been a while since we've actually seen that.
Cody Goodwin joining us right now from Bama 247 as he's joining us. Park Crossing just nailed a 3 with 0.2 seconds left to tie it up and to send it into overtime to Hazel Green. And I just wanted to give that update as we continue to talk to Cody, John.
Jeez. Okay. That's crazy to think, because I didn't think they were coming back. But regardless of that, for us, Cody, for us in the media, for you, of course, down in Tuscaloosa, how much does this actually affect us? The whole A-Day game, kind of coming to an end, or just these spring games in general. Does it really affect us?
I guess I can only speak for me, but no.
Thank you.
I don't know. It's kind of big glorified practices. It's fun to talk to coaches and players after practices. It would be nice if maybe we could see some of those workouts. I wonder how much DeBoer will open the door, but then also with March Madness coming up, I'm not sure how much of the spring practice I'll actually be able to watch anyway.
Oh yeah.
So, it doesn't really bother me all that much because, when it comes to spring ball, Alabama specifically dealing with a handful of injuries here and there. So, some of the key guys, Caden Proctor, Deontay Lawson, they're not even going to be participating. So, okay, what does that mean? You hope that they can build depth at certain positions. You kind of want to hear if some of the newcomers, the freshmen, like Keelan Russell, Michael Carroll, Dijon Lee, are those guys flashing at all? What are their practice habits like? I don't know. It really doesn't bother me at all that spring practice could potentially be modified, be potentially, transforming into OTAs or something of that ilk. But I don't know, man. We can sit here and talk about Alabama football till the cows come home, but really we won't learn, I don't think, anything about this team until August 30th when they finally walk out for week 1 and play a game.
Well, and I think that a lot of it, especially for people like yourself and for us on the radio, it was trying to make something out of nothing. If there was ever a time that we're sitting here and you're trying to come up with a story, we're trying to come up with a topic that connects to it. But in the back of our heads, we're going, this doesn't matter.
Well, it's not even about that, Joe. It's about that it's been ingrained into a lot of our minds throughout the years. The first bit of Alabama football that I got to see was the Alabama spring game. All right. So that's the one thing that is, taking effect. For us, it might not be the same as for somebody who wants every little bit of Alabama football. And for us, I think we get plenty of enough, even maybe even speaking for Cody as well. But it is something that I would say means a little bit.
I think I agree with that, because you think about the NFL's OTAs and their training camps, and nobody really watches the preseason games, or if they're watching it, they're not paying attention to the final score. They're looking to see okay, does the third round rookie flash? Does the new free agent signee, does he understand his role? How does the offensive line look? Little things like that. And so I do think there's an opportunity here for not just Alabama, but really all colleges and all football programs around the country. There's a way to probably connect with your fan base still, even if you go away from the spring game. Because sometimes the spring game does reveal, okay, hey, this kid might flash and play a little bit, right? I think we all heard and remembered Caleb Downs and Justice Haynes, right? We first saw them during the spring game. And then in the fall, right, Caleb Downs more so than Justice Haynes, but it's okay, this guy's a legit dude, right? And spring was kind of the first inkling of that. And so sometimes you get that. And I think, to hopefully maybe, I don't know, college football, people root for the kids, but more and more it seems like people are just kind of rooting for laundry because of the portal and NIL and all these other factors that are impacting the game. I think there's a way for schools to maybe help fans still connect with the guys that are on the roster. And I'd like to see NIL collectives and marketing arms maybe utilize that, even if there's not necessarily a spring game. You could sell tickets to their OTA practices in the spring. You could sell tickets to their training camp in the in the fall, right? Not unlike what NFL teams do. I'm not saying college football needs to be fully NFL light, but there are probably some small lessons that they could learn from that to help the fans still stay connected to a team with so much roster turnover. There are things they could do.
Cody Goodwin from Bama 247 giving us all the information we need to know about, of course, the basketball, which I still had more questions, Joe, but it's totally
No,
fine.
you can go back with those.
You
You can go back with them. I was just my focus was on this whole modified A-Day thing, and I was just trying to see about what other people thought.
That's understandable. It's interesting. Grant Nelson on the hardwood. A lot of people are of the idea that he's kind of in a slump moment of his career. I don't fully get that, but I get that, if they don't see a lot of points next to his name, that's kind of going to be the rhetoric. Can you talk a little bit more about him and the performance that he's having currently?
I mean, he's not playing bad, but he's definitely not playing great, right? Like, he had a stretch through January and even early February where, 25 against Kentucky, had double digits. What's that? 6 straight games, right? 15 against Arkansas, 15 against Mississippi State. First time around, had 12 against Auburn, double, right? Like, but he, only finished with 6 points, finished 3 of 6 shooting, missed his only 3-point shot, still finished with 7 rebounds. So 6 and 7, also had a couple of assists, had a few turnovers. You don't like that. Had a steal. He, for whatever reason, I don't know if I would call it a slump, but he's definitely not playing probably up to his full potential. Mm-hmm. But even then, like, looking at just a 6.7 rebound game in a game where they won by 38 points, right? He won the hard hat last night. So, like, clearly he is still doing the type of things that Nate Oates wants. He's still making winning basketball plays. They're probably going to need a couple of games from him in March where he pops for 15, 18, 20, 22 points if they're going to want to get where they want to go. But, they don't necessarily need him to score 15, 20 points against Mississippi State when you're shooting 49% from 3, right? And Chris Youngblood drops 27. You don't necessarily need all of Grant's points against Kentucky when Mark Sears goes for 30, right? Like, it's, there's going to be a little bit of a give and take. I do think he's playing a little bit more of his natural position at the 4 now that Cliff is in the fold with Alabama, and he's kind of taken over the 5 spot. So, I mean, he's still doing a lot of really good little things to help Alabama win games. But yeah, in terms of, trying to score 12, 15, 20 points a game, like, it hasn't necessarily been there. I don't know that Alabama has necessarily needed it right now, but I do think they're probably going to need a game or two from him where he really pops back into that, Dakota Durant mode. If they're going to want to get if they want to go this year.
Well, would that game possibly be on Saturday against Tennessee?
It might be. Like, that would be a prime time for him to break out and possibly hit the 20-point barrier. I think that would go a long ways in helping Alabama win that one.
Well, and what all else does Alabama need to do? Because there's times like what we saw with Tennessee where they can't make a single 3 and they only have one guy doing it. Then there's other times like what we saw the other night where Chaz Lanier literally doesn't miss one pretty much. I think he only missed like one in Tennessee's last game. What could Alabama be expecting as they're going up to the Food City Center, which really sounds weird to even say out of my mouth?
Just say Knoxville.
Just say, Thompson Bowling.
The thing that kind of strikes me about this game is that this Tennessee team plays a very slow pace. They're very, very good defensively, not dissimilar to like Houston that Alabama played earlier in the year. But if you use Ken Palm's adjusted tempo stat, Tennessee is like one of the slowest teams in the country. They like to hold the ball. They like to run their sets. They like to milk the clock. That's not Alabama's game, right? They like to get up and down. They like to get shots up with 10 or 12 seconds left on the shot clock. They like to get out and run. So, I don't want to say it's as simple as which team can force the other team to play their game. But honestly, in a matchup like this, where both offenses are pretty efficient, where both defenses Tennessee's defense, I think, is better than Alabama's, but Alabama showed last night against Mississippi State that, hey, when they lock in and they play defense, pretty tough team to beat. I hate to boil it down to tempo, but I do think that's going to be a pretty big factor in this game. Like, can Tennessee slow it all the way down, turn it into a little bit of a mud fight, or can Alabama get out and run and get some shots off? So I think whichever team is able to kind of win that tug of war is probably going to best position themselves to win the game. There's a lot more that goes into it, but that's really one of the big things I'm watching.
No doubt. And for this to be the first matchup between these two this season, that is something that, we could talk a whole show about it, but regardless of that, we will not do that. We will have plenty more Alabama-Tennessee conversation throughout the week here on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. But Cody Goodwin giving us literally everything and more that we could ask for around Alabama athletics, except for we haven't gotten to the combine stories.
Wait, there's a combine.
There's a combine, and there's football players that are going to be running for their lives, literally, because they're going to be getting money and paying for their lives. Yeah, Jalen Milroe has been talked pretty highly for whatever. I don't want to be mean because this kid is talented, okay? But it seemed like he went down in draft stock, and now he's going back up before the combine has even gotten off and rolling. What other players are we going to be able to also watch during this combine that's literally starting in like 2 days?
So there's 9 total Alabama players that got invites to the combine. You've got Milroe, you've got both tight ends, CJ Dupree and Robbie Oots. Malachi Moore, I believe, is going to be there. Q Robinson's going to be there. Jahad Campbell's going to be there. Tyler Booker's going to be there. James Burnup, the punter, is going to be there, right? Like he could be one of the few punters drafted next month, or I guess in April, not next month. But I'm curious to kind of see how Milroe does. I think this is going to be a pretty big week for him, both on the field and off the field. Like we know all about his athletic ability. I think he's going to run a pretty good 40. I think if he throws, he'll be able to show off the strength in his arm. I'm curious to see how he does with interviews. I'm curious to see how he does on the whiteboard. I'm also really curious to see Jahad Campbell, who his draft stock shot upward this past season. I think there's a lot of NFL evaluators that have kind of viewed him as a Micah Parsons light. So just because he's a devastating pass rusher, but he's also got the ability to drop back and play a little bit more in the middle if you need him to. So how are GMs and scouts and coaches going to kind of view that athletic ability? How's he going to do in like the broad jump, the long jump, the bench press, all that other fun stuff? And, I think so. Jahad Campbell's one that I'm going to be watching. And then also Malachi Moore, after, he missed the bowl game because of an injury, but also he kind of came up through Nick Saban's defensive back room where he played a lot of that slot position. There's been a lot of players that have come through Nick Saban's defense that have played that star slot position that have gone on to have really good NFL careers. I'm curious with Malachi Moore's experience there, also he got the opportunity to play safety this past season, that kind of versatility. I think he's going to ace the interview process and the whiteboard process, but that versatility I think could really help him, perhaps be sometime early to mid day 2 pick, because I think there's a lot of GMs and coaches that really value versatile defensive backs. So that's another guy that I think I'm going to be paying attention to this week.
Cody, did you have a list in front of you whenever you just named off all those combine
He did.
invites?
I mean, it was literally like off the top of his head.
That was off the top of my head. I wish I had a list in front of me, but when there's only 9 names, it's not a lot to remember.
Only 9 names.
Yeah,
I am so sorry. It's only 9 names.
I mean, this just shows it. I mean, you're on it all the way through. We appreciate you hopping on with us as always. We got a basketball that currently is also trying to grab our attention, but it's not that we don't want to listen to you. Of course we do, but we can also find you over on Twitter at Cody Goodwin. By the way, really like the mustache. We're like mustache.
Yeah, you changed your
here.
picture, bro.
Hey man, I came down south and I was like, you know what? We got to change up the look a little bit. So I figured we've been rocking the mustache for almost a year now. So I'm glad you guys finally picked up on that.
No doubt. I love it, man. Let the people know where they can find your work as well, man.
Yeah, man, on Twitter at Cody Goodwin, and then we're at Bama 247, part of the 24/7 Sports Network. And come check out all the stuff that we're doing. We've got Alabama covered top to bottom, all sports. But hey, you guys enjoyed that state tournament game. There's nothing probably more exciting than state championship events, regardless of what sport they are. I think those are the coolest things in the world. So you guys go and enjoy that game.
And Cody, the reason this is such a big deal for us locally is because this is a Hazel Green girls team that literally has won 7 straight state championships. And so this is it's tied at 45 right now with 27 seconds to go in overtime.
Oh, I love that. Man, the state championship events are so cool because that is for like 90% of the kids that participate. That's like the biggest and most important thing they'll ever get to do in their lives. So I hope they get to soak that up, and I hope you guys get to enjoy the tournament as it unfolds.
Well, you enjoy the basketball this weekend as well as all things athletics over there in Tuscaloosa, because next time we conversate, there's going to be a lot more baseball conversation.
Pretty good team Rob Vaughn's got this year, huh, guys?
Oh, yeah, definitely is. Appreciate you.
Team.
As always, Cody. Can't wait to
appreciate you guys having me on. Talk to you again soon.
Good stuff. Cody Goodwin.
No,
I mean, this guy's just shooting out things like I'm like my brain's trying to comprehend it. I still get the gist, but golly, you would think that he's got a whole textbook in front of him.
No, and he seriously did. He named them all, and I even had the combine list up in front of me, and I couldn't even find everybody, and I had them right there in front of my face. Yeah. I was like, is he getting, yep. No, he is. And I did like the fact that he goes, yeah, it's pretty easy when you only have 9 guys. Auburn only has 4 guys that are going.
I think it was a little bit of a shot at you, Joe, but
It may. I mean, I don't think he meant for it.
I don't
to be
think
that
Cody
way.
needs to be like that. But again, this is a guy that's covering, a lot, like strictly Tuscaloosa.
Tennessee,
sports.
who played in the college football playoff, only sent 6 guys to the combine, and so now I'm kind of going through how many did Ohio State send? Was it more or less than 9?
I'd say probably the same. 8.
It is more, and it is 15.
What?
Ohio State sent 15 guys.
I guess that's what you get for
to
winning.
the combine.
Jeez, that's insane. We keep it here as it's going to go to double overtime, unless it's going to double.
That shot. I think they almost hit the camera person with that shot.
It might end the game off of that one.
It is now going to double OT. Hazel Green and Park Crossing down at the BJCC. The 6A girls semifinals is going to be continuing. We'll keep you updated for as long as we are on the air, as the 7-time defending state champion Hazel Green girls are trying to stay alive now in the tournament and go for number 8. We'll continue. We come back. Phone calls as well. 256-576-4977, as this is the Blitz on WCZN TV at 97.7 ESPN. So
the state's largest orthopedic group is growing to meet the needs of the patients in our community. The Orthopedic Center has long been the most trusted name in orthopedics in North Alabama. So as our area continues on the fast track, so does the need for premier orthopedic care anywhere and anytime you need it. TOC is proud to announce the opening of our new locations in Albertville and Hampton Cove, along with the grand opening of our newest office in Decatur. These clinics will offer the same high-quality orthopedic care you have come to associate with TOC, with the convenience of being closer to home. As a patient, your time is your most precious asset, and we recognize that at TOC. That's why we are also proud to announce the opening of our urgent ortho clinics to handle those bumps and bruises that need prompt attention. These clinics are available to care for acute orthopedic injuries with no appointment necessary. With 38 physicians, 20 centers of excellence, and now more than a dozen locations to serve you, TOC will continue to be the name you turn to for the best orthopedic care at the right time. Visit our website at visittoc.com for more information. TOC, helping you live a better life.
Specializing in simple and affordable rentals, McCurry Van and Car Rental can make sure you have just the right vehicle for your next family vacation, weekend getaway, or if you just need transportation while your vehicle is being repaired. McCurry carries Ford Transit vans and Mercedes Sprinter vans, trucks and work vans, and more. And they offer discounted rental rates for long-term rentals. Now with 4 locations: Athens, Muscle Shoals, Coleman, and Huntsville. Log on McCurryRentals.com to make your reservation now. That's McCurryRentals.com.
Are you tired of power outages disrupting your life? It's time for a Generac standby generator from Current Electrical. Storms may rage outside, but inside your family's powered up. So why choose Current Electrical for your generator needs? 1, we offer a wide range of models to suit every budgeted energy requirement. 2, our project managers handle every step of the process: power, gas, permitting, and inspections. 3, our certified technicians install your generator with precision, ensuring peace of mind. Don't wait for the next blackout. Call 256-880-1880 or visit us online at jetsuperstore.com.
Tom Abraham here for the Spring Home and Garden Show, presented by the Huntsville-Madison County Builders Association, March 7th, 8th, and 9th at the Von Braun Center South Hall. And not only will you find celebrity guests, a family fun zone for the kids, and some great ideas and products for the home, you'll also find the Tom Abraham Show on location Friday at the Owen Home Appliance Center booth from noon to 2 on Friday, March 7th, to help kick off the weekend. We'll see you at the Spring Home and Garden Show at the VBC. The Spring Home and Garden Show, March 7th through 9th.
Tuscaloosa, we live by the blue-collar basketball motto.
Stepping back, deep 3.
Hard work.
2-on-1. Driving, stepping through. Top shot. Got it to go.
Teamwork.
Playing the song for the champions of the Southeastern Conference.
Join us for every game right here on your home for Alabama basketball.
Listen to Alabama basketball all season long on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
SportsMed is the official team physicians of the Rocket City Trash Pandas. And if the pros trust SportsMed, you can too. SportsMed provides every service you might need for complete orthopedic care, specializing in orthopedic surgery, sports medicine, joint replacement, spine surgery, neurosurgery, and podiatry. And they offer their own brace shop, in-house full-body MRI, physical therapy, walk-in clinic, and so much more. 4 locations and on the web at sportsmedalabama.com.
Isn't
the story of the prodigal son, an amazing story. Basically, a rowdy boy who literally wished his father dead ran away and consumed his wealth with hard and fast living. Yet the father looked for his return every day, and when the boy got tired of eating pig slop, he decided to return. What did the father do? As soon as he saw that boy, he ran to him, threw his arms around him, and killed the fatted calf for a great celebration. Hey, I'm John Dees, pastor of the Cross Point Church. If you're looking for a church home, come see us smack dab across the street from the YMCA in Madison.
We cover all the SEC schools, including Western Union and Venmo. I want money. You know, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Oh my gosh. How do they keep doing this?
Hart Crossing keeps tying this thing up. Is tied at 49 apiece right now with 2.5 minutes to go in the second overtime.
This thing was supposed to end with combined 70 points. They're getting to the 70 mark. If they hit another overtime, there's definitely a chance.
Yeah, no, there absolutely is. And so we'll keep you updated on it as you know for the remainder of this, because this game is not going to end before we go off the air here in the next 4 or 5 minutes.
Well,
yeah,
it was a fun one. Regardless, I had a lot of fun. We got to talk with Cody Goodwin in the last segment. If you missed out on that very educational conversation, of course, after the show, as you can always do, you can watch it on WZZN TV, or on top of that, you can head over to our SoundCloud, WZZN or 97.7 ESPN The Zone, and listen to the high quality goodness that is SoundCloud quality. There you go.
It's a quacking good time. As also tonight, Lipscomb and Central Arkansas are going to be playing tonight on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Moulton as well. Scott Moulton just combined them. Steve Moulton, Scott Tyson. There we go. I just totally butchered that. They are heading up to Nashville for the game, and if Lipscomb beats Central Arkansas, which Central Arkansas is not that great, Lipscomb will clinch the regular season championship with a win.
But John Coach Schulman's on that team.
I'm just telling you, I'm not actually saying that I want him to. I'm just saying one team is 21-9. I think the other team is 9-21.
No, Shulman knows. He knows. He understands that. But it's fresh. All right. It's new. But on top of that, thankfully, we didn't have to watch 2 games at the exact same time very late last night. We got to just watch, Alabama. And if you wanted to, you could have watched, the Georgia game. But tonight, we're also going to get some more SEC basketball. We're just blessed with it. And we
blessed.
Hashtag blessed. And we get Auburn facing off tonight against, I believe, Ole Miss.
It's Ole Miss. They're taking on Ole Miss at home after they beat them like a week ago in Mississippi.
They're not even ranked at this point, which is just like, it's similar to, I don't want to say it's similar to Alabama losing to the teams in the regular season, like Oklahoma, whenever they were ranked in the football. But it's similar to that now, where it's just like, how do we lose to this team? It's the SEC. That's exactly how. It doesn't matter if it's football. It doesn't matter if it's basketball. It doesn't matter if it's badminton.
Badminton?
I had to say it. I was going to say the other thing, Joe, but you don't like when I say that one. Shuttlecock. It's a word.
It is a word.
It doesn't matter. It's going to be competitive. And a lot of it's because of the NIL. And now college football, even, with 4 years in its belt now doing this NIL thing and transfer portal thing, all these teams are going to slowly become just as good as each other. And it'll just be about the money. And we've seen that in the last year with Ohio State. Ole Miss was trying to do it just last year. Didn't work out for them. We saw Texas A&M try it a few years ago. Now they got a new coach. Jimbo Fisher's been gone for a minute now, a.k.a. Dirt Neck. If you guys haven't heard that one, but you remember that reference, you can add us on Twitter or something like that. But we also get Texas A&M and Vanderbilt tonight, which this one is definitely an upset watch. I'm keeping an eye on this because Vanderbilt is definitely worthy of getting a big upset victory in SEC play, as they've done before. And Kentucky's facing off against Oklahoma. That one's going to be in Norman. Kentucky trying to get back on track. What are you doing?
Hart Crossing went up by 2, and Hazel Green just tied it again. There's 35 seconds to go in the game.
So we might be able to cover the end of this.
Keep focusing on the show when the 7-time defending state champs could be 35 seconds away from losing a game. Like, I don't care what sport it is. I mean, seriously, it could truly be 7-on-7 girls flag football for right now. The 7-time champs are about, you don't understand like this dynasty that is.
No, I understand,
when you're
Joe.
driving to Hazel Green, it doesn't just say like, welcome to Hazel Green. It says, welcome to Hazel Green, state champs. That's it. Because literally they basically have been the state champs longer than that sign has been around. So they just say they're the state champs because they always win.
I was in high school last time they didn't win the state championship. Is this my time to talk about NASCAR since you're not listening and not
No, that is
paying
no,
attention?
that is Friday, and some dumb reason I've agreed to give you 2 minutes. I don't know.
Monday. 2 minutes, 9 seconds.
I don't know. No, when is qualifying? I just need to know when's qualifying.
I think it's Friday or Saturday.
Okay, so we won't know what the latest number is for the qualifying lap.
Oh,
will
we
we?
might.
Okay, because you see why I'm asking, because that should be it. It's probably still going to be around 2 minutes and 9 seconds.
I would
but
say
still.
so. Who knows, though? It might be a little shorter than that one.
All right, 35 seconds left to go in this game. It is still tied at 54 apiece in the second overtime between Hazel Green and Park Crossing. This isn't even the state championship. This is the semifinal.
I love
Down in
high school
Birmingham.
basketball. It's great. I'm still looking for it, by the way.
Having to watch it on mute for
Oh, well,
multiple reasons.
Yeah. I mean, Steve should be there, but we're not going to say
No,
anything.
he's going to Nashville to do Lipscomb in Central Arkansas.
Yeah, he's doing a college game.
Yeah. Scott Moulton.
It's the UAH Bowl.
It is the UAH Bowl. All right, coming up here in an hour, Tom Abraham, The Drive at 5 o'clock tonight. We will talk to you tomorrow starting at 9 a.m.
Eagle Masonry and Installation. It's right there in the name. Eagle is your one-stop shop for block, stone, or brickwork, monument signs, and outdoor kitchens and fireplaces. Eagle also offers the finest craftsmanship and insulation, including fiberglass or spray foam insulation, and of course, insulation removal. Philip Love and his team have years of experience, bringing the region the best in masonry and insulation services.